Day of the round of 24. We're going to get our last 4 direct seeds into Code S here at the GSL Code. I am Wolf, and as always with me is Kaldor.
And we are starting things off today with the Zerg versus Terran. We have a really cool match at hand. We have GuMiho up against Ragnarok, and this is going to be a very interesting game because if you just look at the names, GuMiho definitely being the favorite.
Oh,
he has
absolutely.
achieved a lot more than Ragnarok in the past. But then you look at the bracket and you look at Ragnarok's last performance or recent performance against Terran, and you realize this guy hasn't lost a single map in his Code A run against Terran so far.
Exactly. You know, GuMiho is someone who I expect to actually do a little bit better this season in Code S. A lot of people made fun of me about that on Twitter when I was posting about
Yeah,
it.
I made fun of you.
Yeah. But, you know, he didn't quite make it, but he wants to get right back into Code S here. Yeah. Ragnarok, though, this could be his moment to jump right into Code S. He's never been in Code S before. He's been a player who's been talked about a lot for his potential. He did really well in Team League ever since he joined LGIM. He's been getting better and better. More and more concrete results coming out of this guy as well.
I'm really excited for this game, but first of all, we're having a quick look at what we had last week. As you can see, Flying triumphed over Crazy. We had Hyva taking out Yoda. Creator could not surpass Supernova, and then in the last game we did not see a match because Tasia withdrew. He's going to participate in WCS, I think in A next year.
Yeah.
Whereas Squirtle therefore advanced straight back to Code S.
Absolutely. And those matches were actually pretty cool. I really recommend Crazy versus Flying.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in the evening, we had Shine take out Hurricane 2-0. Trap was able to 2-1 effort. Very close series.
That was such an exciting series. Definitely check that out if you haven't just yet. It was amazing.
And then, of course, Flash versus Avenge. Closer than the 2-0 shows there, but Flash did have a pretty dominating performance. And then the last series, Life dominated Marine King. That was very one-sided.
That was a smackdown. I mean, Life was just so strong. But as you already said, Flash versus Avenge, that was quite something. Here you can see the games that we have today. Ragnarok versus GuMiho is starting us off, and then we are jumping into Paralyze. The Afro toss up against Su before Lenok has to face Byung, and Byan is up against Rain.
Yep, this should be a pretty cool day of matches. I think everybody's looking forward to those last two especially.
You know, last time that Lenok and Byung faced each other, Lenok just... I mean, he crushed Byung. He crushed him. It was a complete... The skill difference was so huge. It was a completely different league that Lenok was playing. So Byung is out for revenge. But first of all, we are starting into Ragnarok versus GuMiho.
And as you can see, GuMiho, he fell out of Code S, but he's still one of the top ranking players at rank 9. He's been in the GSL for so long, he's accumulated so many points, whereas Ragnarok is coming up from the Challenger League. This is his first run, and you know, maybe he can actually just go straight into Code S here. That's what he wants to do. It would be a great career builder for him, and it would look great for LGIM as well, so I'm sure his team is really, really looking forward to it.
And as we already said, in the GSL so far in Code A this year, he did not lose a single map against Terran, so GuMiho definitely the favorite player here, but Ragnarok has a chance. I mean, he's the underdog in this match, that much is for sure, but the player has been practicing now with LGIM for a long time, and we're gonna find out if he can make it happen, if he will have an upset here, and GuMiho falls down to the up and downs.
Yeah, definitely would be a huge upset to see GuMiho fall down here. But this is a great opportunity for Ragnarok nonetheless. He looks very confident. You can see GuMiho with his towel there. He's called the Towel Terran for a reason.
Ragnarok definitely ready to take on his opponent, and yeah, the Towel Terran with this towel here, of course. And I'm excited to see if the Ninetale Fox is able to take down the Zerg player for LGIM. It's gonna be a close one, I feel. Daybreak is starting us off today, a match where the map is really playing into it, and especially Daybreak has been traditionally a map where we usually see split maps if there's not a lot of aggression, early aggression in the series. So let's see what Ragnarok has up his sleeves. He was very successful against Terran so far. He has to find some angle against GuMiho though. Definitely the toughest obstacle that he's been facing in his Code A run so far.
Absolutely so. The map is loaded. It's Daybreak. It's time for our very first game here at the round 3. The GSL Code A. I am Wolf, with me as Kaldor. Let's jump into the game.
The 16-year-old Zerg player for LGIM starts the bottom left of Daybreak in our first game of the best of 3. It is
LGIM Ragnarok.
Came through the Code A qualifier, defeated Puzzle with the 2-0 in the finals. Finds himself now in the 3rd round up against the Terran player. Starting to the top right in blue, we have for Team FX Open
FXO GuMiho.
20 years old, a seasoned player, very experienced, called the Towel Terran.
Towel over his hand. He has a condition where he sweats more than normal people, so that's why he has it, so he doesn't slip on his mouse or anything like that. Make sure he can have that grip tight. Nice check there, just to make sure there's no weird depot proxy in his main base. Ragnarok not taking any chances here.
I like it. In the best of 3, you always want to make sure that your opponent doesn't cheese you. It's a great opening. We've seen in WCS and A today, for example, Moonblade starting with a very aggressive pool on the big map against Crank, which gave him an early lead in the best of 3, and that's something that you always want to check for. So this little scout seems very insignificant now that GuMiho doesn't do anything like this, but it's very, very safe and very solid, so that's exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, it's a smart investment. It does cost him a few minerals because he loses a little bit of mine time, but it's absolutely worth it. And now he's going to come here, he's going to get into the main base and see that it looks like GuMiho is going for a Reaper expand as the gas has been taken.
Gas is already here and we're going straight into the barracks. I've been talking a little bit about the players that Ragnarok has been facing so far in his Code A run. Let's just get a little bit more into detail here while we have the scouts going on. We had Ragnarok with a 2-0 against Sound of all people in the first round of Code A, a very impressive performance by him. And then in the second round he faced another Terran player, he faced Bunny, who defeated last in round number 1. GuMiho, of course, coming down all the way from Code S. He advanced to the round of 16, to the second group stage, but then there he lost. He only took the third place, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, third. Symbol Kangho plays better than him in the series, and therefore GuMiho now has to win this match if he wants to go back to Code S.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned Ragnarok defeating Sound, and I think is the most significant thing of all, because Sound at that time too, especially right before Code A started, was looking like he might go all the way straight to Code S. He was looking excellent in the team league. We casted his games in the qualifier. You posted an FPV VOD on YouTube about how fast this guy is, and then suddenly Ragnarok beats him and knocks him down immediately. It was a bit of a shock for most people.
Sound got an all-kill in the GSTL, and as you already said, he dominated his Code A qualifier bracket, so a very solid performance here by Ragnarok, who now has to deal with a Reaper, but the Lings are already out, saves one of his drones by just building a small crawler for a second. That's always what you want to do, and you can really see that one of the things that Ragnarok did is keeping all the drones in the main base and not having any at the natural, so the Reaper only has a very small surface area to work with.
Yeah, uh-oh. That drone looks like it may go down here. Does not save it. He didn't want to actually use those resources if he could help. He didn't have enough at that time to build a spore.
Exactly. He was a little bit, that was a bit of an oversight, but it's not too big of an issue. We have 2 Reapers in total that GuMiho commits to this harass, while he builds his expansion at home, goes into the factory, and now with the Queens out, there shouldn't be a problem for Ragnarok dealing with this.
Yeah, Reapers, they want to jump up the cliff there, but on this map it's so difficult, and Ragnarok already has his earliest place in the one place where you can jump up, so GuMiho knows it's too much of a risk to try to jump up there.
And now we have speed coming out for Ragnarok, so a very safe opening for him. He of course expects a follow-up with Hellions, and that's something that we might see from GuMiho. It's very likely. For now, the Terran player just retreats a little bit, trying to make sure that he gets a good hit force out there, goes into the third command center, as Terran players these days nearly always do.
Yeah, and this investment in gas for GuMiho did not really pay off in this case, because only 6 Lings came out. But if he can keep these Reapers alive and bring them out with the Hellions to deny creep tumors, that's when he could try to equalize. But for now, Ragnarok only making 6 Zerglings there, really not actually taking any damage. He did have to make the 1 spore, and he did lose 1 drone, but I feel his defense was really solid here.
Roach Warren coming up now for Ragnarok. He has several things that he can do with the Roach Warren. He can either go into an aggressive timing, or he can just try to defend against the Hellions. It's a matter of preference what exactly he's going to do. We're going to find out pretty soon. I want to point out for a second his Overlord placement at the top right. He has 2 basically already in the main base of his opponent, so that he can see everything that's happening there.
Yeah. Really great spots, because the one on the left can obviously see everything in the main, but the one on the right can go into the main or the natural if need be, so it's really important. The Hellions could have tried to go into the main base there, but I respect GuMiho's decision to turn around with the Lings at the top of the ramp.
You know, it actually looks like we will see Roach aggression. He gets 3 Overlords. He is completely saving up his gas. He's not getting anything with the gas. We don't see a lair. We don't see, like, let's say, for example, double evolution chamber for the upgrades. So 5 Roaches coming in. And we might even see a few more, and him pushing out and at least knocking at his opponent's front door and saying, hi, what exactly do you have to defend against this?
Exactly, and ironically, GuMiho is also going for a push himself, a little bit faster here, and he's going to actually probably have to use those Roaches to defend initially, because the Reapers, a Marauder and a Marine, and just a few Hellions are going to come over and start poking at the drones at this third base.
Already seen by Ragnarok. He has the Overlord in position. Here comes the double evolution chamber that we've been talking about earlier. With only 1 Marauder, there shouldn't be a problem for Ragnarok to hold this off. So instead of just using those 7-8 roaches that he built to say hello, he is defending against what's currently on the map, and he won't fully commit to this. With the first Reaper already present, it's highly unlikely that Ragnarok will start to be too aggressive with it.
Yeah, you know, he knows he's been spotted at this point, so it's hard to commit. He just goes into double upgrades instead back at home. He already had those evolution chambers ready. The lair's halfway done now. And just good Hellion micro here by GuMiho, but he's not getting a lot done here, and he's actually going to have to retreat.
He's pushing out regardless, going into the +1/+1. We even have now the lair coming up. So he could also hit a timing on 3 bases once that he has lair done and speed for his roaches. Something that is very common, hitting on 3 bases with 1/1 upgrades. Very strong timing. And GuMiho is not getting any siege tanks. That's something that a lot of Terran players have been adapting a little bit. Just getting 1 siege tank out there. We've talked about this in the past.
Yeah, you know, it's coming back a little bit. And it's really, really safe to do that. GuMiho just relying on his bunker back here, and he's got a few Widow Mines, and I guess he feels pretty safe, and he's just going to skip the siege tanks for now, starts another reactor.
We're going to see the drop play. That is becoming so popular these days. At first, what the Zerg players were trying to do is just hitting this timing that I was mentioning on 1/1 with the speed, and everything is lining up very well for Ragnarok. But he's using it with the drop play, and that's something that so many Zerg players have been doing these days, using the attack timing with the drop and going straight for the main base, sending a few other forces over to the third or to the natural.
Yeah, this can be really, really strong. You know, just sending the roaches, attacking multiple locations. You know, if your opponent's going for a mech composition, dropping on the army, of course, that's not what we see here from GuMiho, but it's definitely a popular strategy. And GuMiho is moving out a little bit again. I don't think he really has the numbers to get anything done with this right now, though.
Yeah, I don't think so either. We have a lot of lings now coming up, a lot of roaches are in the game. The bailingness has been dropped as well. Speed for the Overlords is already ready. This is just GuMiho poking a little bit, trying to get close enough to the creep so that he can drop a scan and then maybe take down a few tumors or find an opening here with his medivacs. But he's not going to walk across the map with his units in plain sight.
Exactly, and 1/1 is finishing up for Ragnarok, who's starting to take a pretty significant supply lead here. I would expect that once the roach aggression starts, he may take a 4th base.
You know, GuMiho actually found a blind spot here. He could have split boosted in, but he doesn't know that there's no Overlord, so now he's trying to walk in and do some damage. Go for the hit and run, but there are already units present, and yeah, GuMiho, he has to retreat here.
Yeah, he wanted to try to trade efficiently there, but there's just way too many units. The upgrades are good. And the Overlord drop strategy has been completely hidden from GuMiho at this point. He has no idea what's coming.
Yeah. This is the caller cap service for Zergs.
Yeah.
Overlords already on the way, trying to get into position to get this huge roach force into the main base. And so far, it's unscouted.
But I think he may have gotten a glimpse of those Overlords just on the edge there. He needs to be careful.
Not sure, because Ragnarok actually moved the Overlords back. Once he saw that there were Hellions, he immediately moved them back, so GuMiho might just have missed it.
Yeah, I think if he saw it, he only saw maybe 3, which isn't enough to know. But he starts bunkers. He must definitely have seen it.
He must have seen it. You're completely right, Wolf. Here come the Overlords. The question is, will those bunkers be ready in time? The Overlords are already on the move. Another force on the ground will help to support it. Moving in as we speak. Here come the Widow Mines. The Zerglings baiting the shots.
Yep, he's got those bunkers going up, but they're not ready just yet.
And he's going in, dropping on top of the Marines with Banelings and Roaches, taking out so many units. Suddenly Ragnarok is up 80 supply, busting through the front wall, walking into the main base, and GuMiho is in so much trouble.
Yeah, he's only got that drop to rely on, but I don't think it's going to be enough. All of his production is going down. His SV is so low on hit points, and this drop just went swimmingly well for Ragnarok at this point.
Ragnarok hitting his timings on 3 bases with drop, and GuMiho is struggling to defend against it. He's going for the counter-aggression with the drops, but he has so many roaches in his main base. This is why Ragnarok is undefeated in the matchup against Terran in Code A so far.
He's so smart. GuMiho's trying to rebuild his production and lift here. He's so desperate right now, but you know, no matter what he tries here, I just don't think it's going to work. He is doing a little bit of damage with the drop and may be able to target down that lair with the next wave, but I feel that Ragnarok will stabilize relatively easily here. He's got so much production. GuMiho is not even going to be able to complete these barracks as Ragnarok spots them.
The reinforcements are just there to defend now the natural and the main. He suffered a few losses, but he's still at 170 supply. The barracks have to be cancelled. Production structures are very rare for GuMiho. He's going to lose his command center here. This has to be game GG.
Ragnarok dominating that game. Great defense against the Reapers, great defense against the pressure, and then just hits that timing off 3 bases, like you said, perfectly.
It was so well done, and Ragnarok is smiling here. And this is one of the things where you have to be a little bit careful. GuMiho cannot get complacent against Ragnarok. There's a reason why this guy is just so strong against Terran these days.
Oh man, that was really, really calculated what he did.
That was textbook.
Yeah, I love how he kept about half of his units outside of the Overlords because that allows his Overlords to get into the place where they want to be. The Baneling hits were excellent.
It's great, of course, for GuMiho to have Lenok now in the booth. Lenok can talk to him and can exactly explain to him what he could have done, what he has to do in game number 2, because that completely blindsided GuMiho.
Yeah.
I loved how Ragnarok was trying to hide the Overlord speed from his opponent, and even when GuMiho saw it, it was just too late already.
Don't forget, SC is also here with him, so you know he's got both a Terran and a Zerg. Both players coming to support him. Lenok's going to be playing a little bit later on, but SC just came here as a friend, as a teammate, to give him the support he needs, and I really, really appreciate that.
Oh, we are heading into the second game. Belcher Vestige is going to be the map. GuMiho is down one map already. Has to be careful now. Concentrating, as you can see. And Ragnarok, he is calm and collected. He's happy so far. Everything goes according to plan for him today.
Yeah, and they're just making jokes on the booth. GuMiho knows, you know, that was just a problem with scouting for the most part in that game, but it was a great timing.
You know, we said that GuMiho should not underestimate Ragnarok, but the same is also true for the Zerg player here. If Ragnarok now feels a little bit, I don't know, his head is in the skies, is able to take the first game and is like, okay, well, I got this, then GuMiho is going to punish him. I mean, GuMiho, he's a seasoned player, very experienced, he hasn't been in this situation a lot in the past. He is a guy who can come back being down one game, and that's something that Ragnarok has to obviously realize.
Yeah, for sure. Belcher Vestige is a very different map as well.
Oh yeah. Belcher Vestige going to be map number 2. We're jumping right into the game, guys, here at the GSL Korea with Kaldon Wolf. Ragnarok up against GuMiho, game number 2.